Yo, what's going on? Hold on here. Let me make sure everybody gets in okay. What's going on? Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I'm running fucking late. I was driving. It's supposed to be like a 5-hour drive, and it took much longer. All right, but I'm in the game now, boys and girls. We ready to do the Lord's work. How's everybody doing? All right, cool. All right, let me make sure everything's in. Da 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 da. All right. Cool. All right, let's get to work. Everybody good? Mm-hmm. Rock and roller, Coca-Cola. All right. Damn. That was my bad, peoples. That was my bad. I hate being in late. Well, I don't mind being in late, but no. I don't like being stuck in traffic. Yeah, it was supposed to be just a quick drive, and then it turned into something a little bit more. So let's get into this. Look, the market itself yesterday was crap. All right. The market yesterday was crap, and we've got a couple things going. So first, we want to look at the indexes. All right. We've got a gap down in the market. We've got levels to trade around that I think are going to be important. So we had a little bit of a bounce into the close. I think that was probably a fugazi. Yesterday was Yom Kippur, number one. And then number two, TLT was tanking. When TLT is tanking, you've got to be careful, right? Because it has to do with the interest rates. And so what we're seeing here is a no bueno so far. Now we've got some levels to trade around, and then we'll see kind of what's up. Like, we are still oversold, and we may pull back into this support here, right? And just bounce, and bounce and try to do it, because we still are oversold. We're 11 stochastics. But frankly, the fact that we couldn't get a little bit of a bigger bounce yesterday is, I think that's a red flag. The other, thing that we're going to have to be watchful of is TLT already rolling over, right? So TLT already rolling over. That's no good. That's no good here. And I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on the markets too. It closed at lows yesterday. And now look, we had a nice gap. Like, dude, to get a dollar, TLT gap is pretty good, and it's already faded it off. So we're gonna have to be careful. This is a market, guys, where you don't try to be a hero and make like shitloads of money. This is a scalper's market. I repeat, this is a scalper's market. Like, you take your $1, $2. Like yesterday, for those of you guys in the chat room, right? Like, we traded NVIDIA. I don't even know, like 10 times, took $1 pretty much every time, got stopped out flat on every time. Like, that's the market that we're in, so you want to just take your quick shreds and then boom, boom, boom. Like, you take your 2-3 points here, dollar. If it's $100 stock, you take your buck. $200, $300 stock, take your, $2, and you see like what's going on. But this is a no buenos. This market's very, very sick. And look, if NVIDIA loses this level, things are going to get nasty, right? If Apple loses this 173-ish, it's going to get Gennard, all right? And so these are the things that we've got to just be super careful of. There is a world where, right, if this breaks down, then we get to 171, and then things can get really juicy in the QQQs. And so we want to kind of be mindful of that. Now, the QQQs is still on a little bit of support here. So, and the 9 EMA is loose. And that does give me the pause on like going gung-ho on the shorts. We don't want to be too crazy on the shorts, because we're still so oversold and far from our EMAs. Let's take a look and see if we got any earnings plays, any gappers, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, but let's take a look. SLNO, you can't play this thing up 400%. I mean, you guys know that. Like, this is, I don't know what the PR is on this, but like 400% in this market That's no good. ICPT, this was a buyout, man. This thing used to be $350, right? Got bought out 18, good for them, but I don't think there's anything we can do with that. Now, IMMVT, this is a fairly low float stock. It's 42 million shares. The gap is still a lot, but it's not necessarily crazy. Shows reduction in hemoglobin phase 1 trial. You got a breakout here at 25. You got a breakout here at 25. You already got 4 million shares in volume. Frankly, traded, and it used to be $55, so we know it can move. This will be, this I think is probably a good spot. Like this is, I don't like chasing these kind of plays in this market, but biotechs tend to move on its own. I do think there's probably a time and place for this if it sets up. Let's add that to the list. I'd be surprised if I play it just because the market sucks for gappers right now, but biotechs do tend to be a little bit more immune. IMD can shows reduction in hemoglobin phase 2. I think you can add both of these biotechs for potential longs. See, this one's already faded off most of its gap. That's and it's only 300,000 volume. That's probably a leave alone. LXMA, Liberty Media. Now, I don't know what this thing's about, but not enough volume for us. Fisker, good old Fisker here. What do we got for Fisker? Fisker plans for daily deliveries of 300 vehicles in the US. I don't know if that really counts as news. I'd be 300 vehicles, like most likely this is the type of gap that fades off. You know, like if you get a big pop into this, $6, I think it was at 620 yesterday. Like if you can get this thing back up into that range, I'd probably try to roll this over with the market being the way it is. I'm staying away from these cheaper stocks, but that's got a good spot to it. Yang, this is China Bear ETF, right? You got a breakout here. These China's probably got a shot to roll over too. So you got BABA's a bear flag here, right? You got a really tight, narrow day range. If it loses 86, I think you probably fill the gap to 84. PDD's also been kind of just wailing here under its anchored VWAP from its earnings day. This is probably too, as long as it can't break out over that, like that one's probably weak too. Yeah, it's nasty. Everything looks nasty here. You see here. Now, China stocks suck to trade. So, like, I think probably we stay away from these. They're terrible to trade, right? They gap and they kind of sit around. Every blue moon Baba goes, but I think we got easier plays out here. Let's leave that alone. Donkey Kong, JP Morgan upgrades, Donkey Kong to 36. That's a big upgrade. I would actually normally be kind of into this. If the market holds, this probably, because it's a JP Morgan upgrade too, you know, usually like if it's like Roth or, you know, one of those guys, like it's a third, but this is probably, I think this has probably got the chance if the market holds. Like you can see here, right? All the, like the general market just looking like shit, right? Like nothing's holding. Google looks like crap, right? Apple looks like crap, like, you know, Microsoft is on the ledge. It looks very similar to the QQQs. So Palantir, by the way, if you need a little bit of a cheaper name, you've got a 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests of that 14 spot. If you break under that, that one's probably got a flush down to the 200-day moving average. You know, you can see this is one of kind of the early of the year high flyers from January. Up like 400% on the year at one point. So getting a nice flush, and you can see here, this is your classic head and shoulders. Anytime it looks like you're kind of throwing a knuckle up, that's a head and shoulders pattern. This has got a chance if you break under 14. Dude, that's nasty. MVT holds, ROV holds. You're not that many gappers today. That's okay. Let's see what we got on the downside. Ooh, now this I could get behind. United Natural Foods. You know, first of all, screw all American food companies, right? These people are probably poisoning us with GMOs, glyphosates, estrogen, male titty growers, all sorts of stuff. These guys are criminals here. We don't even know what nonsense they're up to. I say we short the shit out of this thing. It's got news out here. Swings to fourth quarter adjusted loss. Let's add that. Ecopetrol, that's a South American company. South Korea, I don't know if that's anything. Beaky, shares rise after swinging. Oh, that's not even earnings. Beaky, do you love me? Do you want me? Do you hold me? Beaky. Hey, this is like, okay, so if you got a 14 spot, it's ATR is 68 cents. You've already used up most of it. I don't see a PR on this yet, but that doesn't mean there's not one. TC has been notorious for late PRs. You got a 1380 magnet on this, and then that's where it gets really nasty. If you like this type of price range, you can totally roll with that bad boy. Faux show. You don't want to chase it down into the hole. Let me see on Trade Exchange if they got anything. Anybody got their Trade Exchange? Let me see. Beaky, do you love me? Let me see what the news is. Oh, nothing. So it's just moving on. China news. Watch this thing. These Chinas can dump. If you want a little bit of a cheaper one, you can do Beaky, you can do Baba. They both look very nasty. Boil. This thing's a pig. I think my dad's in this one. So I think my dad's still in this one. That's how you know. Like, if my dad's trading something, you know it's a dog. And he's long. This thing looks like a breakdown. I'm not really understand the mechanics of natural gas, because with oil going up so much, you would think, gas would at least hold up, but who knows? Now this is an ETF. It doesn't have enough liquidity either, so not really worth the gander here. You can see this is a China bull ETF, about to break down, right? So China's looks shout. Look at this, JD, nasty. This is UNG, so this is the natural gas ETF, the non-leverage one. And you got room down over here to kind of back and fill this area. Oh, junk. All right, so the whole market is kaput, right? So this is what we need to do. SPY needs to get down, way down, probably into this 200-day moving average. We are oversold, but what we do have is the TLT tanking, and we've got yesterday's lows to trade around. This is going to be the big tell. Do we get spiked down into this and then kind of try to do a red to green attempt and double bottom? It's a very possibility because we are oversold and where the 9 EMA is. If we just gap down and we start building down here and we start to build and tighten the pattern and then we ORB down through that level, then the market is toast, right? So those are the two ways you got to play this. This is not a linear market. What I mean by linear market is you wake up in the morning, you're like, hey, the market is a long today. Hey, the market is a short today. This is not a linear market. In this type of market, this is why it's so tricky for so many new traders, is that you have to have different contingencies, and then you have to be able to switch your game plan depending on what those contingencies are you see in the daily chart. It's the toughest type of market. That's why a lot of even professional traders will stay away from this type of market, and focus in on more like trending environments, both up and down. And they tend to stay away from range because you have to have multiple game plans. Hey, if we double bottom, I'm going to long. If we break through, I'm going to short. If we tighten up, I'm going to do this, then this, and this. But if it's too extended, then I can only hit into the pops. If it's on a day 1, day 2, I can short the breakdown, right? There's like 50 contingencies you can do. It takes a lot more skill. But I think, to me, this looks nasty, even though we're oversold. I want to see if there's a fugazi. What a fugazi means is they kind of make it feel like a breakdown, and then you get extended, and then you kind of hold or bounce back through yesterday's lows, and then that starts the big rally. The big rally is probably not going to start though if the TLT tanks like this. So what you need to do is be watching TLT. You need to be watching USO too. The price of oil, people are using this as a proxy for inflation right now. So when oil is breaking out, it's not good for the markets. And then also, right, TLT is a measure of the interest rates. When this thing is tanking, right, when the bonds are going down, the rates are going up. It can be nasty. You're 100% right. Whoever had talked about SC, this had a PR out yesterday. I think you can add this for day 2. I'd keep an eye on this. If it goes red to green and then takes out 41.21, I think that's probably the only like really good looking long. The rest of these are going to be read and react plays. What I mean by read and react plays is like when you're looking at the general market, right? All of these look short, but they all look oversold. But none of them are like hot charts where you'd want to necessarily long them, right? They all kind of look like bear flags inside a range. And so you got to be super careful today, you know, and really read and react. What are the indexes doing? Do we double bottom? Do we not? What's TLT doing? What's oil doing? And then you're going to make a play off of that. If you can't do that, then, you know, right, you've got to stay out of it. Whoever mentioned this Femi, you could probably scalp this thing back and forth. I personally, when the market looks like this, don't want to trade like a stock that's up 300%. You know, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies to do that. Guys, remember, if Apple breaks here, we want to take it short. If Microsoft breaks that, we want to take it short. If Amazon breaks under, I would go with about 129. Go with about 129. Hey, brother.
You need a coffee?
Yeah, I do.
Espresso or Americano? What do you like?
Americano, brother. And then Netflix, these are all. And this looks like a bear flag too. Watch this thing if it breaks under yesterday's lows. There was some AI PRs out yesterday with Amazon saying that these chips are going to go nuts, but I'm still not a believer. Like this looks like if it gets under, this is the weekly chart. If you get under that 20 EMA, like it's lights out on this bad boy. So moral of the story today, guys, right? Watch your levels. The only two that I think look really good for potential longs is ARM over yesterday's highs and SC. All right. You got ARM and SC. Beyond that, like leave everything. I would leave everything alone. On the short side, right, you've got NVIDIA, Tesla, Apple, they all look short. Google, I mean, shit, Amazon. Oh, add SMCI too. SMCI had a nice run yesterday. SMCI had a nice run yesterday. You know, if this takes out the previous day's highs too, and this has got really good range, I think you're in for some fun. Guys, be careful today, smaller size. There's no reason to be a hero today. You know, this is where the big boys play. Remember, if you need a long ARM or SC, everything else looks really ganar. All right, let's do this, folks. Let's do this. I apologize for being late today.